Tyler Jackson of PlaySheetSports.com here at Princeton. I'm joined by two-time first-team All-State quarterback Chance Barker of the Princeton Tigers. Chance, I want to thank you for taking time to talk with me today. And the first thing I want to start off with is you are in a new situation. You got a new head coach, but very offensive-minded. And I just talked to Coach Tanner a couple minutes ago, and we were talking about the offense and picking it up. What are your initial impressions of this offense? Because just the pace that it goes at and the points that it projects to put up, feels like it's going to be an offense's dream.
It's really similar to what we ran last year. It's very fast paced. Defense ain't gonna be ready for it, especially with the guys we have: Brad Mosser and Wyatt Klein and Caleb Kaiser. I just don't see nobody keeping up with us, and our scoring ability is going to be up this year.
Do you think it's been an adjustment to try to get ready for that type of tempo? Because I know I've done this. I've covered Parkersburg South a couple of times. I've covered Independence the last couple of years, where they all run that tempo. Hurricane ran it too. You've played them when they've run it, and it's 20 seconds right up on the ball. Physically, what's the adjustment been like to kind of gather the stamina needed to run it?
We apply it in the weight room. We apply it in practice. Just everything you do it fast.
Was it easy for you to kind of pick up?
Yeah, where I train with TJ Benner, that's kind of the thing we focus on is going fast and make sure you get your reps in. But just running at night, running during practice, running after practice, just to be ready and drinking water.
Now, one thing I talked with Coach Tanner about was I felt like just being around the program that the expectations of getting back to a state championship game were so high, and it felt like it just you never want to say something like that was a dark cloud over the program, but it felt like it just hung over the program. Like if it wasn't that, then it was just boom or bust. Do you kind of looking back on it in retrospect, do you feel like that was a fair assessment?
Not at all. I think this team has so much potential. Yes, it hurt, but we have one more year to do it, and I think this is the year to get it done. And I feel really confident about this year.
What do you take away from the way the season ended? Because I know you guys were banged up, and that played a lot in it. But I know you guys went into that game expecting to win. Coach Taylor at the time really thought that you guys would win. He said, if they beat us, I'll shake their hand, and obviously. But you went into that game expecting to win. What did you feel like you took away from the way the season ended?
We've learned a lot of things going into the game. I think we need to start taking it one game at a time, and being humble. I think we need to be more humble, and then once we get a good little grip on what we're doing offensively and defensively, I think we're going to be just fine.
All right, and the offensive line last year, they were extremely young. You had really good players on there, but it was different from your sophomore year where you had a veteran like Eli Campbell and a couple other seniors. What have been your initial impressions of those guys? And again, I know you've only had a week. I know you've had some summertime and some spring camps, but you just talk about the growth of those guys because they're the ones that keep you upright, and you can't do anything unless they keep you upright.
You go back and look at the games. Landon Moore, he allowed 0 sacks last year. That's why he's ranked number one for the class 27.
Mm-hmm.
He's done a really good job of replacing some of these older guys that left my sophomore year. Jimmy, Shockley, Damian, those guys, and Zayden Neely, those guys have been in the weight room all summer long. And if your line hasn't been in the weight room, they're going to be thrown around by those guys.
Now, you've played with great skill players. You know what a great skill player looks like, and we all know what Brad Mosser is,
Yep.
one of the best in the state.
Absolutely.
But I want to move on to some of the other guys. Wyatt Klein, I feel like that's a guy that you've learned to trust a little bit more. I remember the final game of your sophomore year up at Parkersburg South. I thought he had a bit of a coming out party, and maybe there's going to be a little bit more to build off of last year with the way things went down towards the end of the season where Markel moved to receiver. Fewer targets, although he came through in some good spots. But I feel like for this offense to really hit its ceiling, it needs to be similar to 2023 where, you had Dom as a 1A, but Brad was a really good 1B, 800-yard receiver,
Absolutely.
guy that could win those one-on-ones. And I feel like you kind of need to get that from Wyatt this year. It's
Yep.
3rd and 7. Brad's got a bracket on him. I need to be able to get to Wyatt and trust that he's going to be able to make this play. What developments have you seen from him this offseason to step in and be that high-end number 2 receiver?
Wyatt has been in the weight room all summer long. I don't think he's missed a day. He's been working out with TJ Benner over at Evolution. I'm proud of that guy. He's worked his tail off all summer long. Asked me to stay over after practice just to catch. Been using the catching machine, and I think we got several guys in the depth that can be that second option guy. Obviously, Brad's first, but we have several. JoJo came from Bluefield. Alex Cox, he's a younger guy. Isaiah 6'4". Logan Whitaker, Jake Belcher. We have so much talent on this team. So we don't know who's going to be third option, fourth option. I mean, we have so much depth, and that's really good. That's what we need. And obviously, that we need depth to make it to the playoffs, and especially championship.
Is QB Country the place you were working?
Absolutely. Yep.
So
Yep.
I know last year coming in, you obviously you had a great sophomore year. You threw almost 50 touchdown passes, but you wanted to get better, so you went and you worked with QB Country. You worked with some guys in North Carolina to really reach a new level. And last year when we had this conversation, I think you said, yeah, my goal is to be at 195 pounds. And I think you were at like 185 or something last year. And I'd say, muscle wise, you're pretty close.
I
Are you there
say
yet?
185. I would say about 175. But nah, I'm there. I'm at 200.
So as a quarterback, what do you feel like you took away from last year that you're like, okay, like I feel like I needed to be better here or better at this? And what are some of the things you worked on this offseason to get to that point?
I felt like, when I was taking hits, and then running the ball, of course, you could feel it impact. You get up. But this year, I've been taking hits, and it just feels normal, like brush it off. And then also, I've been wanting to my rollout game. I've been wanting to work on it, and just working through my progression reads. Quarterback country has really helped me, and without them, without Coach Boone, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Yeah. So, with all that, have you been able to work pretty closely with Coach Tanner and keeping some of the things, each coach wants to bring their own offense and they want to run it to their personnel, but have you been able to, and you don't have to get into specifics because I know, people are going to watch this and everyone tries to glean the different things that they can. I was talking with CJ Stroud a couple days ago and he said, whenever I'm playing against the defensive coordinator, I always try to, what position group, were they a defensive back coach? Because I know, they'll probably have different coverages this week, or were they a linebacker coach? Were they a defensive line coach? Can I expect different stunts or blitzes? So what are some of the things as a quarterback that you feel like, have you been able to really work with Coach Tanner? Like, hey, like, let's keep this in, or, I really like this. Like, let's make this a staple and let's not get rid of this.
So as soon as Coach Tanner came in, I was like, hey, let's get this down and let's start working. I was super excited. I was rooting for him to get the job, and he did. And, he knows quarterback, he knows offensive lineman, he knows wide receiver, he knows it all. He knows football, he knows his knowledge of football. And, I think it was a really good hire. Obviously, Coach Taylor left, and we're going to miss him. And, all the memories we went through with him and state championship. But, I think Coach Tanner knows his ball.
Absolutely. Well, Chance, I appreciate you taking the time to join me this evening, and really looking forward to seeing you guys this year. Obviously, I've got to see a lot of you guys over the last few years. It's always been a fun offense, and looking forward to doing it again, man.
Yes,
Best
sir.
of luck this year.
Thank you.
No problem.